Hi, okay, we're back. At this point, you should have read the MarketShare case, the review of marketing, exploring marketing from the MarketShare student manual, completed the MarketShare quiz, which you would find on Interpretive's website at www.interpretive.com, and reviewed and prepared to discuss the MarketShare case prep questions, which are posted on Blackboard. But to help you in that process, I just wanted to review some of the concepts from an introductory PowerPoint slide provided by Interpretive that gives us an introductory overview to the MarketShare simulation. You will find that information on Blackboard, but also there are some of the slides that I have pulled and highlighted just to direct your search for information by asking you some questions. And these should also help you as you work on the MarketShare case prep. Now, there's not a written assignment due for the MarketShare case prep, but you will be expected to be prepared to discuss that case. So here's some questions that may help guide your initial analysis of the information from the case, okay? And again, this is from the introductory PowerPoint slide that Interpretive has provided to give us an overview of the MarketShare simulation. And you'll also see that this looks very similar to and is drawn and relies heavily on the 5C framework from the Note on Marketing Strategy, right? So when you're looking at your competition in the MarketShare simulation, I want you to think about what do you know about your competitors from the information that has been provided in the MarketShare case. What is their size? How many products do they carry? What markets do they serve? Who do you think is your strongest competitor or competitors? And who do you think your weakest competitors will be? Be prepared to come in and explain why you think that, okay? There's also information provided in the overview as well as in the MarketShare case that gives you other information about your competitors that may help you answer those questions. This is just some of that information. It's not intended to be an exhaustive listing. I also want you to think about what you can tell us about the industry. When we think about the broader context in which you'll be operating in the MarketShare simulation. What are the segments that exist in the industry? The size of those segments, growth rates. And then think about what does this mean? Because remember, one of the things that's important when we're doing an analysis, it's not simply stating or rehashing facts that we all know, but it is taking those facts and that information and trying to make meaning of that, right? So that's what I mean when I'm asking you what are the implications. I want you to think about what does it mean when you tell us information about the segments that exist in the market, the size of those segments, and the growth rate, okay? And again, here's some information from the MarketShare case that may help you in that regard. Who are our customers in the MarketShare simulation? What do you know about the customers? Based on your reading from the MarketShare case, are there any trends, shifts in the market, or changes that may shift changes in customer needs? What other information do you need to know to help you understand the customer base? Those are some of the questions I'd like you to think about. Also, one of our key partners in the simulation are those with whom we collaborate, our distribution channels, our retail outlets. I'd like you to take a look at the chart here on the right, this pink, purple, and white chart. This is mass merchandisers, these are drugstores, these are grocery stores. I want you to look at this chart and think about what can you tell us about our retail channel partners. This represents the sales in each channel. So tell me, what does that mean? What does that tell you? And what other information would you like to know about your retail channel partners? Okay? So that's a really high-level overview and just a subset of the information provided on Blackboard and from the MarketShare case. But hopefully this will help you as you prepare for our discussion in class on the MarketShare case. Again, look at the questions from the MarketShare case prep, but I'm hoping that these questions will also help you as you prepare that. Now, the other important part of MarketShare, of course, we will be evaluating and assessing your performance. And there are a number of measures that may be used. There are 5 measures that I will be focused on principally to assess how well you have done at the end of the simulation. We will look at market share, net income, stock price, return on marketing, and shelf space. We'll talk a bit more about those measures in detail, but again, each of these measures I will be looking at to assess each team's performance and we'll find more information on the market share simulation about that. And again, I'll return to a broader discussion about that when we meet. And finally, remember from the market share manual that one of the things that they said was very important, particularly if you're working on the market share simulation as a team, that it's very important to discuss how your team will be set up, individuals' roles, and to define what you mean by contribution and quality contribution and how you will handle any challenges or conflicts that might arise. Although we don't anticipate many, sometimes that does happen, right? I want you to also give some thought to how you and your team will work together. While this is something you will be discussing offline in your first meeting, I also want you to give that some thought when we meet. Now I'm also going to switch over to the market share simulation. I have logged onto the simulation as a student, and here I'm going to show you what you will see. Well, if I can resize this, perhaps not. Here's what you'll see when you log on as a student. Sorry, I can't resize my screen, so I'll scroll this over. When you first log on, you'll see a messages section, and here I've added a message. MarketShare will provide messages for you, but I have also added a message to remind you to make sure that you register for the simulation and take the quiz, which you will find on the simulation site. When you log on to MarketShare, you will find this opening screen that has tabs on My Account, My Team, the Schedule, the Simulation, Resources, and Help. Now I am logged on as a student, with Student View rather, so there's some information that I will, it obviously will not be as complete as your information. But here under My Account, you'll find information about your account. Under My Team, you and your team members will be listed here. On this example, since it's me logged in as a student, there's no team members. Under the Schedule tab, you'll find the schedule of the simulation. And what this allows us to see, I'm going to move the screen over just a bit, is that when you will be able to input decisions for each period. So this week, teams will have the option of inputting decisions for periods 1 and period 2. If you recall from your reading of the MarketShare student manual, there are 6 decision periods, or we can think of those as 6 years, that we will be running the simulation. So to avoid you inputting decisions for all 6 periods, into a single week, we've set up a schedule so that you will only be able to advance during certain periods in certain weeks. And but it is also important that you not delay inputting your decisions, because there's a ton of information, as you will see once we launch the simulation. So here's the schedule that we will follow. I'm asking that you advance the simulation at a minimum of once a week, but preferably making 2 decisions per week, okay? But again, we'll talk about that in more detail. You'll also have on this right side quick links where there's the quiz that I have been referring to. You'll find the quiz here. Evaluation form, we will come back to that at the end of the quarter. This gives you an opportunity to evaluate your peers and their contribution to the team project. Here, you can link to get to the decisions. Here's information that you've already read. This is getting started in the simulation. Here's this MarketShare student manual and the MarketShare case under this link, and comparative results. I'm going to click on this link for a minute. And at the end of the introductory slides, I talked about there were several performance measures. You will find for your team that there are going to be, I have more than the measures that you'll be evaluated or assessed on, but we have for each team information for each period. Right now we're in period 0 because we have not started the simulation, but you'll find here information for your team as well as other teams, number of sales, market share, and your rank relative to other teams, right? But there's a number of measures that are included in the reports, and you'll see that when you log on. This just allows you to see your results and your results relative to other teams. In addition to your results, you'll also have decision measures, which will give you information about average retail prices, expenditures on advertising, promotion, salespeople, your sales force, etc., throughout the industry. Whoops, sorry. So that is the listing of comparative results on the MarketShare simulation website. Another way, although this won't show us anything right now because we haven't begun the simulation, but there's also a comparative graph. And you can select just your company or your team, which is what's here, and specific measures for your team, or if you'd like to see how you are doing relative to other teams using the comparative graph, you can look at the results graphically. Same information that we had here in the comparative results table. I personally find the graph a little bit easier to read and review, but again, since we have not actually launched the simulation yet, there's nothing on the graph, right? And then under the resources page, you'll find again the student manual, which is also posted on Blackboard, and the MarketShare case, which again you will at this point hopefully have read, okay? And here, and if if there's help, I should also point out to this. Interpretive is excellent, providing fast turnaround and support. If you have questions, particularly technical, not about the decisions, but actually run into any technical issues, have problems logging on, you should submit a ticket directly to Interpretive. And we have here the Interpretive Support Center, where you can launch the Support Center, find out frequently asked questions, or submit a ticket if you're having a problem and cannot find the answer here, okay? And they have been excellent about providing customer support. And then you'll see finally here, I'll move the screen over, our Go button, which allows you to launch the simulation, okay? So we will come back to that and working on the simulation, but our first step will be analyzing the situation. And again, we will be using the 5C framework to help us get started. But remember, you should read the MarketShare case and have completed the MarketShare quiz and be prepared to discuss the MarketShare case prep when we come to class. Okay, great. I'll see you this week.